Good evening. Welcome to Speaking in Your Basement. A few years ago, I started developing some pain in my right ankle. I was noticing it pretty much any time I walked. It was pretty consistent. It wasn't severe pain, but it was just discomfort, mild pain, again in the right ankle. I didn't want to mess with doctors. I didn't want to jump into that. What I was hoping was there's something I could do on my own to resolve it. And I tried a couple of different things. And I was exercising, but I wasn't exercising specifically my ankles a great deal. So I've got a rebounder in my basement, and I'd used it off and on up until then, but I'd fallen off a while before this happened. And I thought, let me just try the rebounder a little bit. It was good for energy. There's a reason, lots of good reasons to do it. I'd just fallen off of it. So I started rebounder for two rebounder, a little mini trampoline if you're not familiar, about 2 to 5 minutes a day. I just did that every day. And about 2 weeks into it, I wasn't getting the pain anymore. There's a great number of things like that if you just put a little consistent effort into, and sometimes you can figure something out on your own. Occasionally, it's a lot of work figuring out what it'll take, but once you find the thing, you're good. And the interesting thing about that is the harder you look, usually the more seriously you take the fix. Usually when you find that solution and you've had to look hard for it, you treat it much more seriously than you would than if you found something relatively simple that resolved it. Now, I'll take simple solutions when I can get them, but I don't mind working a little bit for a solution either. A little bit of daily practice goes a long way in resolving a lot of issues. And so it is with speaking. If you're not as comfortable communicating as you would like to be in any situation, public speaking, interviewing, dating, any relationships, even communicating with yourself, a little bit of daily practice goes a long way towards resolving those challenges. Now, of course, there's tons of things you can add into it, tons of things about clever wording, tons of things you can add in about using variety in your tone, about your body language. There's a variety of things you can add in to improve your speaking. But one of the biggest things is just daily exposure. Even if you find, oh, well, my body language, if I just do this one trick, it'll fix so much in my body language. And if I fix my body language, it'll fix so much in the way I come across. It's a huge issue for communication. That may be the case. But where are you going to practice that? Just because you figured it out doesn't mean it's resolved. When you practice enough that it becomes instinctive, then it's basically resolved. Not to say you ever get to stop paying attention, but if you're practicing on a regular basis and you're practicing the new strategy, technique, or whatever else it is on a regular basis, the issue is basically resolved. So if you've got the body language fix or the tone fix, or even if you just want to work on your wording, work on your becoming an expert lyricist, wordsmith, or whatever they're calling it these days, if you've got that daily practice in place already, you just add it in and you keep going. And once that's down, once you've got that, you keep going, and when the next thing comes up, you add that in and you get that worked out in your daily practice. As we've covered, your daily practice doesn't have to be epic. It's epic in that it's daily and you stick with it over time. But it doesn't have to be anything like an hour or any huge amount. It could be a few minutes. 5 minutes is a good place to start. And if you can't get that in, the 1 minute is fine. That daily practice, that daily exposure to speaking out loud, it goes a very long way. Do it. And again, it's not epic. Again, it's not epic on any given day. But if you stick with it, it is absolutely epic over time. powerful. So once again, if you hadn't gotten in your daily practice, make sure you get it in. As soon as this video stops, go do your practice. Give it a minute. If the minute feels good, go ahead and get a couple more minutes in. If you want to go past 5 minutes, go ahead and go past 5 minutes. But get the practice in. Get it in. Let it become consistent. And as you allow that consistency to come up in your life, there's a number of problems that you saw in the past that'll get resolved, even if you're not focusing specifically on resolving that problem. And there's a great number of things you might not have even been aware of that will be resolved just through your consistency, just through your daily practice. I'm Ben Langley. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. We'll talk again soon.